Well, hi there everyone, it's Sunday morning. Now we weren't expecting to do too much work on the farm today, but the weather has improved slightly, the wind has dropped, so we're going to take the opportunity to get out and do a bit of fertiliser spreading. So we had planned on doing some stuff in the garden at some point today. And we need to get these troughs kind of filled up with manure. We need to get the water tanks filled up with water. So we've got the tomato greenhouse there. We've got lettuces and cabbages here. So these troughs need filling up with manure. So we need to go and get some from the animal dealership. And we were kind of going to spend the day getting this sorted. But because the weather's improved, we need to get out and do some fertilising. Now, Dad has managed to have a sort of final agreement on costs and everything with Ken Fletcher regarding those fields 49 and 50. So he's agreed with Ken that we'll split the harvest income 60-40 in our favour. Now, part of the reason Ken has agreed with that is because we will put a full lot of fertiliser on them and do some herbicide spraying and everything, so the yield expected will be much better. So he's kind of ended up being happy with that. So I need to get on with some fertilising this morning, and we've got tar field 48 that we need to do. We've got field 49 and 50 that were Ken's that we've just purchased now. So I'm going to crack on with those, and then I'll have a little look at the contracts later, because there's still quite a few in the local area that quite a few fields that require fertilising. So I think we might be able to pick up a few of those. Might as well do them while the going's good, because the weather's going to deteriorate again sort of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think, and the wind's going to get back up again. So kind of need to make the most of it now. So I'm just going to drop the lime off, and then I'm going to fill up with fertiliser and head up to field 48. Okay, we're up in field 48, just started on the headland. Now you may remember this has got corn in it, and we applied one lot of fertiliser when we were drilling it. So this is the second lot that's going down, so it'll need a third at some point in the next few weeks. And the same, I think, with field 49, Ken's field. We drilled that as well, so there was a level of fertiliser that went on that when we were drilling, so that'll need another lot. And then field 50, that hasn't had anything on it at all, so that really needs 3 lots of fertiliser on it. So we'll get the first one today, and then we'll have to see how the growth goes before we apply any more. So these fields hopefully won't take us too long, but it's still sort of fairly breezy, but it's just about okay in terms of this solid fertiliser. But we wouldn't be able to do any actual spraying or anything, so hopefully this will kind of be fine, and it's going to be good enough for us to do what we need to do today. Right, we've finished in field 48, we're in field 49 now, about 2/3 of the way through, so getting on okay. As you can see in this field and throughout all of our fields, there's little patches of weed everywhere, so they're not consistent right the way throughout the field, but just odd patches here and there. So I don't want to spray them with our main sprayer, because it just we'd waste too much money really. So I've had a chat with the guy up at the dealership, and they've got a drone sprayer which we're going to have a little go with later on this afternoon. He's going to bring it down to the farmyard, and we'll see if that will help just to get rid of these small sort of patches of weed. So we'll give that a little go later on once we've got these fields all fertilised. Right, I'm a good way through field 50, so we should be finished up here fairly soon, and that'll be all of our fields done. Managed to pick up a couple of contracts. We're going to go and do Karen Deer's field 61 and Tony Morgan's field 9, and we might be able to pick up field 11 a little bit later as well. So I'm going to go off and do those, and whilst I'm sorting those out, Joe's going to get the greenhouses sorted. Mum and Dad will get a little water bowser up by their house, so she's going to go and pick that up, and then she's going to go and get some manure from the animal stockyard, and we're going to borrow a little skid steer from the pig farm over the road, just to help us out a little bit. So it'd be good to get those greenhouses sorted so they can start generating a little bit of income for us. Right, I've finished up in field 61. We're over in field 9 now. Getting on with this okay. Jo's just called me. She's just about done everything she needs to do with the greenhouses. And she's said the chap from the dealership's on his way down to drop off that drone sprayer thing. So it'd be good to see what that looks like when we get back to the yard. I'm going to go off and do field 11 after this quickly. And then we'll go back home, have a bite of lunch, and then see if we can go out and have a little test with this little drone sprayer and see if that does the job okay. I'm a little bit worried about the wind because it's still a bit breezy, but hopefully it'll be okay. I think it'll be the best chance of us trying to sort the weeds out in the next little while. Okay, on way back to the yard, I'm almost home. So we finished field 11, and I'm just going to get this parked up, have a little look and see what this drone thing's like, and we'll have a quick bit of lunch, and then we'll get out this afternoon and see if we can just spray off some of these little weed patches. So there's Jo. She's obviously checking it out. Looks a bit weird, but it could be quite interesting anyway to see if it does the job. Right, we'll catch you in a little while. Right, well here we are. This is the little drone sprayer. As you can see, fairly sort of simple design, little sort of tubular frame. Got the herbicide tank in the middle there, that holds 800 litres. 4 rotors at the top, there's a camera at the front. And then sort of 2 fold-out little spray booms as well. So that looks all right, quite simple. I guess best way to find out if it can do the job is we'll fire it up and take it out to the field. Right, the controls are very similar to the little video camera drone that I've got, but it's a little bit heavier, so it's a little bit slower kind of reacting to the controls, but it's fairly familiar and seems to kind of move around okay. Now I'll put a few tanks out in the field so we can fill up directly from these, so we'll just drop her down a little bit, fill up with herbicide, and then I'll take her out. I'm going to go up to field 48 and do that one first, and then we'll kind of work our way back towards the farm from there. Right, I just need to fold the little boom arms out a little bit, and then we'll just drop her down just so we're hovering a few feet above the actual crop itself. And I think probably one of the hardest things that we're going to struggle with is actually being able to see the weeds within the crop itself. So there's a little patch kind of beneath us, but they're sort of hard to identify. I think if the weeds are flowered, then you can kind of spot them, but if they haven't, and they're slightly lower down in the crop, then I think it's going to be really difficult for us to sort of see them. So not quite sure how successful we'll be. There's a little patch up in front of us here, so they're quite easy to kind of see. And in the crop that's just over the hedge in field 49, that's a little bit easier to identify the patches, but I think we might struggle a little bit. As you can see, it's a bit easier to identify the weeds in this field, but again, only if they're sort of flowered really. If they're just green, then they're still hard to spot. So have a little look in the on the iPad here. You can see the patches that we've sort of left, and that's really because we can't see where they are. So it's doing a good job in terms of the actual spraying, but I think, like I said before, the hardest thing is actually seeing where the weed patches are. Right, well, I think I've done enough of that for today. So it was okay, but not completely convinced. And the other thing that I've noticed as well is it seems to get through a fair bit of herbicide. I'm not entirely sure whether you can adjust the spray rate on it, but we seem to have used quite a lot just spraying off some of those sort of patches. And I think in comparison to what we might have done just sticking it through the normal spray, it was it's going to be sort of work out fairly expensive really. So I'm not entirely convinced. It's probably the right bit of kit, and it's fairly pricey for what it is. So nice to have tested it, but yeah, not sure if it's something that we would get for the future. Right, that's pretty much it for today. The only other thing I need to do is get some of this grass cut because it's getting a bit long. So I'm going to get the mower. We dragged it out the old garage a bit earlier, so I can get that done. And we're kind of pretty up to date with the farm. There's not an awful lot that we can do at the moment apart from doing some more fertilising, and it's going to be a bit wet and windy over the next few days, so we'll just have to try and fit that in as and when we can. So that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, then please give it a thumbs up, and feel free to share and comment. If you haven't already subscribed, then please feel free to do so, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell. Right, I hope you keep well and stay safe, and I will catch you on the farm next time. Bye for now.